Oi! What's up, everybody? I meant to do the countdown here to the show starting, but I completely forgot to hit the countdown when I said go live. So, uh, why don't we do that countdown and then we'll give you a real good oi. So let me just do this here for you guys. Act like an actual professional that gets it right the first time, but we're already live, so who cares? Let's go. Oh, what's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing this Wednesday night? I'm feeling pretty good about this card, but what I'm not feeling pretty good about is the fact that we don't have any lines out yet. We don't have any props out yet. Nothing out on DraftKings except for the first two fights. Nothing out on FanDuel at all. Don't know what they're waiting for. It's pretty frustrating. I am refreshing best fight odds right now, and this is just nothing there. Unbelievable. So we don't have money. We don't have much in the way of props, but we do have a lot of stats to go through here for you guys. So let's check in with the chat. Let's see what you guys are up to here, and let's see if we can figure out some angles on this UFC Vegas 59 card. We got my guy JSJ23, the first in the room, saying, "What's good, Weezy? How would you rate these plays in order of confidence? Brian Battle money line, Brogan Walker decision, Terrence McKinney inside the distance." So I would do, they're all sides that I'm on. I mean, Terrence McKinney inside the distance is something that I absolutely think is going to happen. I'm on the side of the Brian Battle money line. I think he's going to win by submission, actually. And Brogan Walker decision is something that I'm planning on betting, and I'm hoping to get better than plus 175 for somewhere when props decide to open. Maybe they'll open by the time the fights start. We'll see. But those are all picks that I'm confident in. But Terrence McKinney would be number one. And then I would say the Brian Battle money line, and then I would say the Brogan Walker decision, because Juliana Miller is really scrappy. And I feel like Brogan Walker can win the minutes of the fight, but still lose a close decision. You know, I kind of feel like the UFC is looking for Miller to have, I think the fans like her. She's got a very fan-friendly style. She's a real scrapper, a real fighter. So you never know. They might have her on her plans, but, she's only 2-1 as a pro. So good thing that she was in the house. Good thing that she had that growing experience. You learn a lot in that house in a short period of time, working with some of the best coaches that there are available for young mixed martial artists. So, that's how I would rank those three, but they're all plays that I like. I might be sprinkling Battle by submission, and I will Brogan Walker by decision is definitely going to be a tracked bet for me this week. Thanks for checking in, JSJ. Good to see you. And we got my guy Mushroom in the room. What's good, Mushroom? Saying, "Oi, yes, no better way to spend a Wednesday evening, Thursday morning. We'll get plenty of sleep when we are dead. Until then, let's fucking go." What's up, Mushroom? Always good to have you in here supporting, brother. Appreciate you. And we got my guy Daz Files is in the room saying, "Oi, let's go." Prince of Mischief saying, "What's up, everyone?" Also, it's the Wednesday. Where are the props? Exactly right, Prince of Mischief. I have no idea what these people are waiting for. And Daz Files saying, "Battle minus 265. He's not that guy." Dude, you're right about that. You know what? Let me bring up my notes here. But I can kind of talk through some of these fights. In terms of Battle, he's at a big time experience deficiency here. Sato has fought the better brand of competition at the UFC level. Sato's right in that sweet spot, 32 years old, while Battle's still 27 with only 8 professional fights. So, he's still growing, and we've got Battle cutting down to 170 for the first time in his career. That's going to be a new thing for him. So for him to be at a strength of schedule deficit, to be at a pro experience deficit, to be at a power on the feet deficit, it's a lot to lay that much especially with the new weight class, the weight cut. But, if that all goes well for him, Battle's got a ceiling. He throws a lot of volume. He's got a good gas tank to push that pace. And he's got a really sneaky submission game. And I think in particular against Takashi Sato, that's gonna serve him real well. Because Sato has been submitted, as we can see here, in 2 of his 3 UFC losses. And man, Gunnar Nelson was close a couple times. He was very close to making it 3. But 60% of his 5 pro losses are by way of submission. So he's been finishing 4 of 5 losses, 3 of them by submission. So I like Battle by submission this week. But yeah, I'm not laying minus 265 on the money line, but I do still think that he gets the job done here because I kind of feel like Takashi Sato is very one-dimensional, especially up here at the UFC level. I feel like he's got that good straight left hand, and if that doesn't land, I don't see him winning minutes. I don't see him winning fights. And we got the UFC Egg is in the room saying, what's cracking, y'all? It's good to have you here, UFC Egg. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, man, sipping a beverage here. And Daz Files saying, you're cracking, UFC Egg. And that is correct. My guy Brian in the room saying, oi, what's up, Brian? Daz Files saying, let's hope Terrence McKinney comes out round 1 on crack like usual. Yeah, I can't imagine anything else happening. This is just the way that this dude fights. And those first, 10 strikes that he throws in a fight, if any of them land, you might not wake up for 30 seconds. The step-in knee, that straight right down the pipe that the 1-2 down the pipe that he caught Frivola with. Head kicks. This guy will knock people out with head kicks, big punches. But that jump knee that he landed on Drew Dober twice in the first 10 seconds of the fight was just spectacular. And if that's anybody but Dober, they're sleeping. So yeah, McKinney is just. He's incredible to watch. I mean, one of the most exciting fighters for about a minute and a half that there is in all of mixed martial arts. We got Banana Boat Float saying, what up, Unc? What's up, Banana Boat Float? Thanks for checking in. We got my guy Kiwi in the room saying, Chiral. What's up, Kiwi? Good to have you in here. We got Hi Weezy from Take No Prisoners. We got Daz Files saying at Kiwi, oi. And we got Cole Stein saying shame. Shame for what, Cole Stein? Was it for the Dante O'Mays ass shaving of the week pick? I'll take some responsibility, but my thoughts always is that it's everybody's fault but your Uncle Weezy's. It's always up to the fighters to get the job done. But yeah, if it's shame on me for being late, for screwing up the intro for the Dante O'Mays pick, I'll take it this week. I deserve it, man. What's up, Cole? Good to have you in here, brother. We got Take No Prisoners saying, my parlay last week was soured with Nunez versus Pena fight going the distance. Wasn't expecting it would last all 5 rounds. Yeah, neither was I. And she dropped Pena, I don't know how many times, was it 3 or 4 times? And Pena, even though Nunez was looking to finish that late in the fight, there's just no quit in Juliana Pena. She's never going to quit in there. So I'm very surprised that fight didn't finish. I had the under 4.5 for that fight parlayed with the fight doesn't go to decision for Dante O'Mays Abdelwahab. So I would have been furious that it didn't finish. But my parlay was already dead way earlier in the night due to the fact that the Abdelwahab Mays fight went to decision. So, yeah, that was a shocker. I could not believe that that fight went the full 5 rounds, man. It was kind of like how it went over 4.5 for Teixeira versus Prochaska. That was absolutely crazy, too. I would have bet my left nut if you gave me the chance. That fight was going to finish inside the distance, and it did not happen, or that it would have finished under 4.5, and it finished in the last 2.5 minutes. Mushroom saying, thoughts on my Spivak KO, McKinney sub, Oleksiejczuk KO, Luque over 1.5, Hill fight doesn't go to decision parlay. So the Spivak KO I like, but he could sub Sakai, but the McKinney dude, he could knock somebody out, he could knock him out, he could sub him, so what I'd rather see is that you have Spivak inside the distance and McKinney inside the distance instead of actually picking the method. But Oleksiejczuk KO. Oleksiejczuk isn't subbing anybody. Here, let me share my screen with you guys here so that we can bring up some of these stats because I've got them on the screen here. And at 150%, we could bring up Oleksiejczuk, and we're going to see. Come on. Oleksiejczuk has never, or he does have, what is it, one submission? He's got a 6% sub rate, so he's got one submission and 16 pro wins. So, but it's not likely to happen. You know, Sam Alvey has been submitted at the UFC level a couple of times here, twice. But it's not likely to happen, not at the hands of Oleksiejczuk. And then Luque over 1.5, I like that. I like that a lot. Even though Luque is a fantastic finisher, Jeff Neal's not that guy. He's a very, very good fighter. They're very well matched, in my opinion. I think that line's too wide. I'm thinking about taking a dog shot on Neal. And then the Hill fight doesn't go to decision. I love that. I think he's going to bring the fight to Santos, and somebody's going to get knocked out, most likely Thiago Santos. Tristan Sherhouse in the room. What's up, Tristan? Good to see you in here saying fight doesn't go to the distance in Lord Michael versus Sam Alvey, minus 182 on Bodog. Where did I have that one earlier in the week here? On the prop template here. So let's zoom in on this for you guys. And I had the fight doesn't go at minus 160 earlier in the week. Minus 182. Let me type that number in. So that is a 64.54% implied probability. Now, 55.46% of middleweight fights finish inside the distance, Tristan. We take that number minus the 64.54% implied probability of the line. We're overpaying by about 9% based on that benchmark. However, 16 of their 31 combined fights have finished inside the distance. For Oleksiejczuk, it's 5 of 8, and for Alvey, it's 11 of 23. So we add those together, we have 16 of their 31 combined fights at the UFC level have finished inside the distance. That's only 51.6%. So when you compare that to the 55.46% finish rate for the division, we're overpaying by about 3.8%. And when we compare it to the implied probability of the line, we're overpaying by about 13%. So even though I do think Oleksiejczuk probably knocks this dude out, I got a feeling this fight's going to decision. And even though I have that feeling, I understand the people that are betting it saying, you know what, I'm just going to say Oleksiejczuk knocks this dude out, and I'll do fight doesn't go to decision, because just in case he gets caught with an Alvey lead right hook that lands on the chin perfectly, we got both sides covered. But it's not a bet I'm going to be making. The analytics don't like it. They say I'm overpaying at minus 182, and I'm worried about Sam Alvey's pace as always, because he can lull people into a very slow, low volume fight. So that's a bet that I'm going to be staying away from. But believe me, Tristan, I get why you might be making that one. Who's jumping on that Aldo line early? Plus 110 for Aldo against, I forgot who he's even fighting. Excuse me. So it's not on this card. Aldo against Merab Dvalishvili. Oh, baby. Oh, I like Aldo. And that's a 3-round fight, too. Aldo does take a little bit to get going, but, man, I like that bet. Jose Aldo has got about as good a takedown defense as anybody in the bantamweight weight class. The guy's a legend when it comes to stopping takedowns. And even if Merab does take him down, man, Jose is good on the ground, and he'll be the much, much better boxer, the much more powerful boxer. So plus 110, I'll be looking at that. You know what, you guys, let's have some fun, right? Let's do this. I'm going to show you guys how the sausage is made. So I'm going to put together a matchup template for Jose Aldo versus Merab Dvalishvili. So here, I'm going to do this. I'm going to open up a blank sheet. Okay. And then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to put my matchup template in here. So 2021 UFC matchup template. So this, I'm going to copy and paste this template into this sheet here. Once it comes up, because my computer is old as hell, I need a new one and it is slow. So we cut and paste it into here, right? And then that's like the bare bones template there. And now when I go below the template, I can go down here and I have to go to my UFC database. So 2021 UFC database. And once we get in there, I'm going to bring up Aldo's career stats. I'm going to bring up Dvalishvili's career stats, cut and paste it into this template here. And then we'll get those matchup stats next to each other, and we'll do a quick little balls deep breakdown of the Aldo Dvalishvili fight to see where you guys like your lines here. Okay, now I am going to search for going to 135 here. Search for Aldo. All right. So I'm going to copy that line of stats there in here. So that we've got Aldo's stats in there now. And I'm going to go back here to the database and I'm going to find Merab. Couldn't find Merab Dvalishvili. He's got to be. Oh, it's because it's already highlighted. That's why. So now I'm going to bring up Dvalishvili. I'm going to cut and paste his stats into the matchup template here. Paste special, get it in there correctly. And then now it's all populated and we can zoom in and we can see that Dvalishvili's 5 years younger. Aldo's an inch taller, 2 inches of reach for Jose Aldo, which is going to come in handy in those stand-up exchanges, which is where Jose is going to want to keep that fight. Jose, 20 more pro fights, over 200 more minutes in the pro cage, 10 more years as a pro, 10 more fights at the UFC level, and about 200 more minutes in the UFC cage. And then when we go here to the finish stats, Jose Aldo winning 69% of his UFC fights by decision, and for Dvalishvili, it's 86% of his fights are won by decision. Jose's been finished 2/3 of the time by knockout. Merab Dvalishvili been finished twice by submission at the UFC level. So if we look here, we're going to see this takedown defense is at 88.61%, and we see Merab's getting 44% control time on the average. Jose Aldo's only giving up 11% control time on the average. So Merab's going to have to get it a lot closer to that 44% number, and he's going to have to do it against a guy who has successfully stopped 70 of 79 takedown attempts against at the UFC level. So Jose Aldo's takedown defense is really good, and he's getting his takedowns at over a 50% clip. And then when we just look at on the feet here, you know, you're talking about a guy who's got a lot more power. You're talking about a guy who's got similar striking defense, throws a lot less volume, and actually gets outstruck by his opponents, while Merab is putting massive volume on his opponents. But it's because of the fact that he's attempted 140 takedowns in only 9 fights and gotten 63 of them. So it's an interesting fight, but Merab's going to push for those takedowns, but it's going to be very difficult to get them against somebody like Aldo, who has these great numbers. So it's going to be a very interesting fight, but plus 110 on Jose Aldo is very interesting in my opinion. Okay, we got the Mississippi Whisperer is in the room saying, would you rather see Edgar lay an egg on Buena's face or kiss a bullfrog with your penis out? How about neither? Yeah, how about neither? And then we got my guy Kiwi in the room. Ring a ding ding with the only donation of the week on Uncle Weezy's channel. You're the man, Kiwi. Thank you so much for helping keep the lights on here in my studio. I appreciate you. You're always checking in. And he says, shame. and there's probably a lot of reasons that he's shaming me. You can just figure out, pick one, and that would be, whatever it is. The Dante O'May's ass shaving of the week pick, the Mason Jones ass shaving of the week pick, the TJ Brown ass shaving of the week pick. How about the fight starts round 2 for Derek Lewis Pavlovich as the 4th leg of the greasy parlay last week after the first 3 legs cashed. There's a lot of shame to go around for your Uncle Weezy, and my man Kiwi is giving me a little bit of that shame, saying shame, but also giving me a donation, which I very much appreciate. Thank you so much, my man. I appreciate you. Mississippi Whisperer saying the same dumb shit. Take No Prisoners saying, how many rounds is it, Jesse? I think it's going to be 3 rounds. Virtual hug to Kiwi from Daz Files. I appreciate you. Mushroom saying Rivers Casino Philly only has props on 2 fights so far. Shame, fucking shame. I couldn't agree more. DraftKings has only 2 fights with props. It's the Luque fight and the main event. Unbelievable. My guy Dave Bandit in the room. Europe is saying good morning, good vibes. Appreciate you, Dave. Good to see you in here, my man. Mississippi, let's see. Would I rather milk a dog or sniff a dirt fart from Rafa Garcia after round 3? Let me get back to you on that one. That I was actually writing a paper about that earlier this week. I just got to dig it up on the computer. Bailey saying, let's go, Weezy. What's up, Bailey? Good to see you. And we got Mushroom saying, what's up to Daz Files? Daz Files saying, what's up to Mushroom? Diddy battles nuts or finger Brunage's asshole. Yeah, how about neither? You give me some really, really bad choices here, Mississippi Whisperer. David Nettles saying, when looking at fighters with just regional experience, how do you compare their region to others? Are some regions better than others? Besides opponent records, how can you tell if they fought poor competition? Well, it's always good to look first at the experience level of the competition. That tells you a lot of what you need to know. 0-0, 1-0, 0-1, 3-2, 2-3. All those types of fighters. If you're not recognizing the name, you're probably fighting a very low level fighter. When I'm looking for regional scene, when I'm looking at where people are fighting on the regional scene, if I see CFFC, I'm thinking, okay, they got some good competition at CFFC. If I see LFA, I'm thinking there's probably some really good competition there in LFA. If I see any of the Russian organizations like M1, like Fight Nights Global, like ACA, ACB, when I see those organizations, I'm like, okay, those guys have been through the ringer. They've been in there with guys that really know how to wrestle and smother people. And then UAE Warriors usually has some really good fighters from around the world fighting over there. Brave is a good organization that I consider, if somebody's got 3 or 4 fights in Brave, I'm thinking if they're winning those fights, especially if they become champion over there, that they're going to be UFC ready. They're going to be ready to fight these guys that are the gatekeepers at the UFC level. These guys like Carlston Harris, for instance. He was in Brave for a minute. He was in UAE Warriors for a minute, and then he was around the world other than that. But when he got good wins in those organizations, which leads you to believe, okay, this guy might be legit. And then he got here, and the only person to beat him is Shavkat Rakhmonov thus far. So he's proven that he can get there. CFFC champions are guys that you have to take seriously right off the bat at the UFC level. When I see organizations, sometimes some of the European organizations are a little bit lower level. You've got to really kind of dig into some of the guys that are fighting in those places. Like somebody like Dricus Duplessis, who was fighting in Octagon and who was fighting in KSW. He was fighting in KSW. A couple fights against Roberto Soldic, right? So you know that if he's fighting Roberto Soldic twice, that he's getting some of the top European level competition. But some of these guys like Pateria recently, like Dennis Bondar, like Askar Mozarov, these guys are fighting in smaller organizations. They're beating guys that might be 9-9. Some of these guys are 8-4. And then you go and you watch the fight and you're like, Jesus, who did this guy beat? He's got 8 wins. Who are these cans that he beat? When you look at Rinat Fakhretdinov recently, he came in with like a couple of wins over Alberto Uda and Eric Spicely. And then you look below those wins and you're like, oh my God, this guy hasn't fought anybody. So you just got to it means different things coming from different parts of the world. Even UWC has had some really good competition at the top levels. They're getting the best Central Mexican and South American, South American, Central American, Mexican talent in that organization as well. Combate, has been feeding us guys like Castaneda, like Rafa Garcia. So we're seeing some really good guys. Eric the Ghost Pepper Gonzalez this week is fighting a Combate guy. So there's, you just have to know the different organizations and then look at the level of competition too. Click on some of the Sherdog profiles of these guys. If you do it enough times, you're going to start to notice some of these regional scene names. And you're going to be like, oh, he fought that regional scene guy that's pretty good, And it just takes a little bit of familiarity to get used to what these guys are doing. We got Charles Herner in the room saying, hey, I'm Papa Chunk here. What's up, Papa Chunk? Good to see you hanging out. We got, was shame for no lines on the bookies. Okay, that's fair enough. Shame. Yes, shame. Cole Stein said, no shame on you, Ong. Shame on the books for not dropping the props by midweek. Shame. Yeah, definitely. That's so stupid. I can't believe they haven't dropped these. But it looks like we just got new lines here. Like our guy told us about the Aldo Dvalishvili. We got Miranda Maverick, a minus 350 favorite over Shanna Young at plus 285. We got Romanov at minus 310 over Marcin Tybura plus 260. We got Luis Saldana plus 250 against Sean Woodson minus 300. Lucy Pudilova against Yanan Wu. That's going to be a bad one. AJ Fletcher versus Angalusa will be a good one. Fletcher's minus 180. Amir Albazi minus 350 versus Francisco Figueiredo plus 285. Tyson Pedro a minus 800 favorite against Harry Hunsucker. We got Jared Gordon minus 310 against Leo Santos. So is that Leonardo Santos or is this a different Santos? And then Aori Quileng minus 200 against Jay Perrin. Leonardo Santos is fighting Jared Gordon. He's coming out for his one fight a year, and he's going to give you 5 minutes of hell before he quits. Wow, all right, that'll be interesting. Let me see here. We got Charles Herner in the room saying, what do you think about Hill Tiago over 2.5? Okay. So the prop template has let's see where we can refresh this, find out where the line is. Plug it into the prop template. Over 2.5. I got plus 155 on Bet Online for the over 2.5. Oh, that's the wrong fight. $155 minus $185. So 39% implied probability. And let's see, I got my prop template up. All right, sweet. I got my prop template up and I've got my analytics here. So light heavyweight fights go over 2.5 rounds. 41.25% of the time. So you're looking at, you should be getting like about a plus 150 because 40% is plus 150. So at 41%, you're getting a little bit less than plus 150, maybe plus 145. In this case, we're getting plus 155, and we're looking at guys who have finished inside the distance at the UFC level 70% of the time. Man, I'd like to get a little bit better than plus 155 there, because we're overpaying just a little bit for it. I mean, like I say, we've got these analytics here, and they're very important analytics because it gives us a benchmark. And I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. God damn it. And this benchmark for the over 2.5 is 125 out of 303 fights. That's it, only 41%. And in this particular fight, I feel like Santos is very dangerous still. The power is the last thing to go, is what the old saying is. And Jamal Hill does throw a lot of volume and has poor striking defense on the aggregate. In terms of his striking defense, we're looking at a guy in Jamal Hill who's got a 44% striking defense, if I remember correctly. So he's live to get hit by Santos. Yeah, 45.88% striking defense, but he throws so much more volume than his opponents. So he should be very busy here. And both of these guys are very powerful. 1.48 knockdowns for 15 minutes, one for Santos. So yeah, I think that I wouldn't bet that over 2.5. I'd need to get something that is significantly better than what the benchmark is for a Jamal Hill fight. But you know, if you got a good read on it, go for it. Prince of Mischief saying both Neal and Luque are durable. Do you see this going over 2.5? Neal decision plus 420 ain't a bad look. I couldn't agree more. Look, Vicente Luque's got legendary durability. This guy trusts his chin. That's why he gets hit so much, because part of his fighting style is just saying, I'm more durable than you, and I feel like I hit harder than you. But Jeff Neal hits really hard too. So I could see Jeff Neal potentially winning some minutes on the feet here. I could see Luque giving up some minutes on the ground. Jeff Neal's really good on the ground too, you guys. So, you know, I do like the Jeff Neal decision. And in terms of what the prop template is saying for this fight, what's very interesting is we see right here 13 of 14 UFC wins inside the distance for Luque. For Jeff Neal, it's 5 of 7. So these guys are finishing 86% of their UFC wins inside the distance. Then we go over here. They've never been finished. 4 losses for Luque, 2 losses for Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal's in there with tough dudes that finish, and they're not finishing them, you know. And Luque's got incredible durability. So for over 2.5, I see plus 125. Let's see what it is right now. Over 2.5, we can get plus 105. So there's definitely been some money coming in. So it's 105 for that. The under 2.5 sitting around minus 120 on a book that I can't hit it. Minus 125 on Caesars. I can hit it there. So minus 125, and then the fight doesn't go. Minus 140 plus 110, and that's what we've still got. So if I'm betting over 2.5 or fight goes, right, I would just bet that over 2.5 at plus 105, because you're only getting plus 110 for the fight goes, and you got to worry about it finishing in that last 2.5 minutes, which in this division, the difference between the fight doesn't go to decision and the under 2.5 is this. So it's about 4.3% of the time fights are finishing at the welterweight division in that last 2.5 minutes. So you're only paying up, you know, for fight goes to decision at plus 110. You might as well take the over 2.5 because you're only paying up 1% here, but you really should be paying up 4%. So really you should be paying like plus 100 or even minus 102, minus 103 here. So this is better priced, as we see 6.88% advantage here, only 3.76% edge there. So take the over 2.5 instead of the fight goes, and I like it. The prop template likes it too, because this would be the first time either one of these guys would ever be finished inside the distance at the UFC level. So the over 2.5 plus 105 is a good look, in my opinion. We got Mushroom saying what's up to Chuck Herner. And let's see, we got Mississippi Whisperer with another question. My God, let's Sam. Oh my God. Yeah, neither. Once again, neither. I don't really feel like either of those are good choices. Good to see you. Sorry to be a miss. I had my mom to visit for a week to meet my boy Hayes. There you go. At Alvy Army there for SD Crusader. What's up, SD Crusaders? Good to see you in here. Herner saying, I'm thinking of laying the wood on Lipsky, Spivak, Piqué. Who's Piqué? And Hill Tiago over 2.5. Don't care for the Hill Tiago over 2.5, but it's fairly priced. So if that's your read on the fight, hit it. Spivak, I like Spivak. I think he's overpriced here. I think, you're going to be throwing shit at the TV if he doesn't shoot for takedowns in this fight. And there's always a possibility that that does happen. Dude, if I hadn't, went to rehab for laying juice on women's MMA, I'd be laying the hammer on Ariane Lipski. I think that she's easily going to win this fight. I know that the Ariane Lipski money line is going to be one of the four legs in my greasy four-legger this week. Once we figure out when these fuckers are going to drop props, I'll get you the other three legs. But I'm looking at a couple other spots. But we're going to try to get something greasy at 10-1 or better this week. Ariane Lipski will be one of those four legs. Big on Lipski. I think Spivak gets the job done. PK, what am I looking at? What am I missing? Luque, you're probably looking at Luque. I think that fight is going to be very close. I think that one can go either way. I think Luque's line is a little bit juiced, but flip a coin on Luque Neal. I think they're both very, very good. So I like the Lipski one. I like the best. Spivak, I like the second best. Hill Tiago over 2.5, third best, and then Luque, fourth best. Prince of Mischief saying, hey, Unc, have you ever played a bitter violence bet? Example, bet an over 1.5 and an under 2.5 and cash both. I'm looking for a potential spot, but I'm scared. If it hits, though, money. Yeah, well, we had one earlier in the week with the Spivak fight. There was an inversion in the market, and you could have done it. Actually, you could still do it. So you can bet the over 2.5 at plus 135, and the fight doesn't go at minus 160. Well, but earlier in the week, you could have actually got plus 145 and minus 150. So, you would have been paying about 2%, but fights finish in that last 2.5 minutes about 4%. So, 4% of the time, you double your money, while 98 or 96% of the time, you're going to lose 1 or 2%. So it's actually, it's a winning long-term proposition if you're getting that 1 out of 20 fights to finish in that area, between where you're saying it'll go over and under. But you have to look for inefficiencies in the market in order to make those bets. Because if you just do it trying to predict when a fight's going to end, you're kind of leaving your sack out there. But when you're doing it because the market's paying you in order to, they're saying, hey, we'll give you a 1% or 2% exposure for a 5% chance at hitting both bets. And when you're doing that over a long term and you were to do it a number of times, as long as the fights that you have the opportunity to make that bet in and pay that very small vig, as long as they're finishing in that pocket at a good percentage or right around the benchmark, you'll make money long term. But yeah, it's a very interesting way to look at things, Prince of Mischief. But I think that you have to have a very good eye for mispricings in the market and taking advantage of those so that you pay a very small vig for a chance to get a big hit. Steve-O is in the room saying, Weezy, any thoughts on Dominic Cruz at plus 170 next week versus Vera? That's looking pretty tasty right now. I agree it's looking very tasty. Marlon Vera is a monster, and 5-round Marlon Vera is a fucking problem. But, man, Dominic Cruz is so hard to find, and he's such a good minute winner. Such a difficult style to deal with. Vera's going to try to march him down, but I don't know if he's going to be able to find Dominic Cruz. And Cruz can fucking frustrate you when he's on his game. So, if you're getting Cruz at plus 170, chances are you're paying minus 200 for Marlon Vera, and you're paying minus 200 for a guy that is an excellent finisher, but people aren't really finishing Dominic Cruz because he's so hard to hit, because he's so hard to find. So, yeah, that's a really good look at plus 170. Cruz is a master minute winner, and that's the kind of opponent, the archetype of opponent you want to bet against a guy like Marlon Vera, somebody who's going to be very difficult to finish, and that's Cruz, and somebody who's good at winning minutes and not absorbing damage. And I think he's good at all those things. So I think that's a good look. And Charles Herner is saying this card seems to be a trap with like a third of it being women's MMA. Yeah, man. Tread lightly. You should always tread lightly. But these lower level cards, I'm trying to have a few more on the underdogs and make smaller bets with higher ceilings and hope that some of these unreliable favorites, like Terrence McKinney shouldn't be minus 1,000 against anybody. Yes, he's exciting. Yes, he's explosive. But what happens if the fight goes past 3 minutes? Is he going to look minus 1,000? No. He's just, he's so explosive that, he's all front loaded. And if it gets past that area where he gasses out, minus 1,000 is entirely too much to pay. Dave J. Barista saying, big shout out to you, Uncle. Your picks were so money on last weekend's card. Love the statistical analysis and metrics you put into making your picks. I appreciate that, man. I think that's one of the reasons that people watch my content is that you can go to anybody's channel and find out what they're thinking and who they like in a fight. But I like to bring the data with me and then point to things, because the data is an honest representation of what these guys have done in the cage. And I think a lot of people look at interviews and stuff like that, and they look at narratives, but those can be bullshit. But the stats are that's the accurate representation of what did happen in the cage. And I think that's the best way to judge a fighter. So when you bring all this data to the table, you can actually find things in the data where if I'm telling you I like Brogan Walker Sanchez and you're saying you like Juliana Miller, we're going to be able to find commonalities in that data. You on fighter B, me on fighter A, because you could always point to that data and say, yeah, well, Weezy, what if this happens? And then, that's something that we always have to look at. So I think that's the great thing is bringing the data because it makes us more humble because we realize that, we can't just say, oh, well, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. Well, the reality is like, okay, yeah, for instance, I know that Terrence McKinney is going to finish this fight inside the distance, right? But the difference is like, well, what does it cost? Are you paying minus 500? That's an 83% implied probability. This is a lightweight fight. 50% of lightweight fights finish inside the distance. So, there's very little room for error in that bet when you're laying minus 500. So the data gives us answers that, and it tells us, okay, yeah, you might be right. You might cash this bet, but I promise you're overpaying for it. Or, yeah, I don't think that this bet's necessarily going to happen, but should it be priced at plus 300? No, it should probably be priced more like plus 150. So we got to find these areas where we're finding inefficiencies in the way that it's priced. And we got to hit those. The more it's mispriced, the better a chance we got to cash it. So that's what I'm looking for, Dave. And Dave saying, hit the like for this channel. I appreciate you, brother. Mushroom saying, good, glad to hear. Good to see you're back. And Charles saying, I haven't gotten to see just the tip yet. What was the Unk's greasy four-legger this week was nothing. I'm going to be putting out a video that says Unk's greasy four-legger for the week because there's no props out. I got to have props on DraftKings, on Caesars, on FanDuel, and on BetOnline so I could find out what's priced well, what book has got the best price for the four. I try to pick out like 6 or 7 props and then find a place where we can parlay it, where we can get a really good odds and find the lines that stick out the most. So since we don't have these lines yet, since we don't have these props, I don't have a greasy four-legger, but I can guarantee that Ariane Lipsky money line is going to be in there. And I'm looking at a couple other spots too. So we're going to get it to you later on, Charles. I'm going to be doing a video tomorrow because hopefully by the time I wake up tomorrow, all these props will be out. Yep. And Mushroom telling you what I just said. Prince saying, this is the only show. Stat Digger is just the tips where I can appreciate looking at a spreadsheet. That copy paste was epic. I appreciate that, man. That's how the sausage is made. Like when I'm creating the stats every week, that's what I do. I go into my database. I cut and paste the lines into that matchup template. I'll type in the last 5 fights. That takes a little bit of time, but it just, as soon as I cut and paste that thing in there, all the stats automatically populate for all the fighters. So it's a really, I mean, it's a pain in the ass building that template, but that template saves me literally hours every week. So that's what I do. And Joshua saying, Weezy with Ortega, Aspinall, and then Mays. Some of us can't afford to donate. Yeah, well, don't gamble what you can't afford to lose, Frick. And yeah, Ortega, that was clearly my fault. I should have known that his shoulder was going to pop out in the first round. And I mean, everybody tried to talk me out of that Aspinall bet, because they're like, dude, he's going to blow out his knee in the first 15 seconds. And I just didn't listen. And yeah, Dante Mays, who would have known that once he busted that dude's orbital and he had him cowering against the fence, ready to finish, that he would have walked away into the center of the cage like it was a fixed fight. So yeah, I can't afford to donate to you either, Josh. So appreciate you, brother. Thanks for hanging out. No line by the bookies is the shame. Thanks, Kiwi. Chad saying, this is the week your greasy foreleg gets redemption. I need redemption, man. I've been missing one leg out of 4 every damn week, man. Charles saying, thanks for the info. Appreciate you. Charles, Prince of Mischief saying, it makes me laugh that Corey McKenna should have been on the London card if she grappled one, but now she's being punished and ended up in the Apex. Yeah, that's so true. I was surprised, too, that she wasn't on that card in London. I was also surprised that Mason Jones wasn't on it originally, and he kind of had to take that Klein fight on short notice in order to get on that card. That was really weird, too. But, yeah, we'll see. I mean, the bettors still like Corey McKenna. They're not as mad at her as I am. I mean, some people are still paying minus 230, minus 215, minus 225. The line's not moving. So people think she's better than Granger. But I think Granger is better than Elise Reed, because at least Granger is a well-rounded mixed martial artist. She can stand and she can go to the ground. Reed's just a pure striker. So I just don't understand this line at all. I had to bet it. I probably should have bet it more, but we got to see how Miranda looks after the pregnancy. And that's a narrative thing. That's a real thing. But yeah, I've got 1 unit on Miranda Granger. We'll see how it goes. Alex Ramirez, the general, is in the room and he is taking notes. Charles Herner saying, figurative question, not literal. Full bankroll bet. What bet on this entire card that still has some value would you be willing to bet your entire bankroll on? Value is key. Okay, so the bet that I would be making in terms of just pure value, if you put a gun to my head and you said you're putting the whole bankroll on this bet, the one that I would be the most sure about is I would just say McKinney-Gonzalez fight doesn't go to decision, because the way that Terrence McKinney fights, he would have to fight in a completely different manner than he's fought in all 16 of his professional fights for this fight to even have a chance of going 7.5 minutes. So that would be the one where if I was just worried about, okay, they're making me put my entire bankroll on a bet, what's my most confident thing that I think is going to happen this week, so that at least I get my bankroll back, and I don't care if I make a little bit. It would be the McKinney fight doesn't go to decision bet, because I think that's the most likely thing to happen. If we're talking value, there's a couple of spots. Sakai Spivak fight doesn't go to decision. This one has got the trifecta, you guys. The fight doesn't go to decision at minus 160. Is 61.54% implied probability. We got a 63.67% finish rate for the division. That's a 2.13% edge over the books. 11 of their 16 fights have finished inside the distance, 68.8%, 5.1% better than the divisional finish rate, and 7.2% better than the implied probability of the line at 61.54%. So we got a 2.3% edge, a 5.1% edge, and a 7.2% edge, but that's not the one. It's the Battle Sato fight doesn't go to decision. So I wanted to show you that trifecta before I showed you this trifecta. So plus 125 was the line. I think we might have to pay up to plus 115 now, but let's just pretend it's still plus 125 or I bet it. That's a 44.44% implied probability. 48.62% minus 44.44% is 4.18%. So that's a 4.18% edge on the books. But these guys have finished 5 of their 7 combined UFC fights inside the distance. So that's 71.4%. That's a 22.8% edge over the 48.62% finish rate for the division, and 27% better than the implied probability of the line at 44.44%. So getting this fight at plus 125 is one of the most mispriced lines according to the data that's available. It's a small sample size of only 7 fights, but we also get the narrative booster to this that Battle's cutting down to 170 for the first time in his career. So there could potentially be that he gasses out earlier and that he will have less durability, less ability to take a punch than he normally does. And we know that Takashi Sato hits hard. So that is one of the bets that I like the best when it comes to just pure value in terms of what we're paying for the line, what these guys have done in the cage, and the difference between the price and the performance. It will be the fight doesn't go to decision for Battle Sato. Rick Sanchez saying Vera will look minus 500. I'm such a huge Brandon Vera. I love Brandon Vera back in the day too, but Marlon Vera is such an exciting fighter. Love that archetype. Very, very durable. Comes forward, hurts people, and he finishes. But man, Dominic Cruz is just a very, very difficult opponent to deal with. I don't think anybody ever looks minus 500 against Dominic Cruz. I remember when Garbrandt beat him. That was the best I ever saw anybody look against Dominic Cruz. But Vera doesn't have that kind of speed that Garbrandt does. So I don't know, man. I don't think he looks minus 500 here. But there are certain, like, 5-round Marlon Vera is a fucking problem for anybody. And I just think that the Cruz matchup is a unique one and a difficult one. And Charles saying, at Joshua, Ortega and Aspinall were both freak injuries. Mays was an idiot. Unk does his best. I'm sure he wants to give us a pick with value and not something with bad odds. Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to do too. And, you know, I mean, I get it. We all lose money, dude. But, I mean, come on, man. I mean, we're all adults here. I make my picks. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. You can check all my tracked bets. They're at, betmma.tips/Uncle Weezy. You can check my entire betting performance for my entire career. It's all out there. Of course, I want to win every bet, but it's up to the fighters at the end of the day. And if you're tailing my picks with money you can't afford to lose, that's your fucking problem. Don't blame me for that. Let's all be adults here. Let's all have some fun. But, gambling, there's going to be wins and there's going to be losses. And it's easy to, be good when the wins are happening. But, how the measure of a man is how he handles his losses, how he comes back from them. That's a measure of a man in life. Can you pick yourself up after life fucking knocks you down? And it's going to do it over and over and over again. Don't blame other people when life knocks you down. Get back up, dust yourself off, keep fucking walking forward like you're Jonathan Pierce, man. Walk forward until your opponent is no longer there. And that's the bookies. They're the ones we're all working against here. And I'm doing my best, yeah. But I appreciate each and every one of you guys for hanging out, for watching the content, for hitting that thumbs up button, just for being here, for being an MMA fan that wants to talk about the best ways to bet on these fights and make some money. I appreciate you. Let's do it together, man. Charles Herner saying, Luque. Yeah, man. I was like, PK? What the? PK is that? Isn't he a Portuguese soccer player or a Spanish? No, I think he's from Spain, but either way, man. Addicted to Combat in the room. What's up, Patrick? What's up, my friend? I love the unders for Sato Battle. Yes. Sakai Spivak. Yes. And the over for Luque Neal. I'm with you all three there. I don't know, man. He's got some really weird questions, Randy. Dave Barista saying PK is a Spanish footballer. That's right, man. Addicted to Combat saying also Catchaware around 3 KO plus 2,000. X bet it, retire early. Addicted to Combat giving you the Lou Bet Ya big wide odds bet of the week. Love it, my man. Good to see you in here. My guy B all the way from Canada saying just checking in before bed to smash the like and make some money. Weezy, let's go, man. Not RD, but spread the positivity. I love it, man. I love it. Let's go. Go Flamingo saying, I've rewatched Santos versus Jones a bunch of times, and I'll die on the hill that he took rounds 1, 2, and 5. After beating Glover's head in and getting caught, I think he's following Woodley and Ferguson. Gun shy. Yeah, dude, you don't have to die on that hill with me. I think that there's a lot of people that thought that that fight could have went either way. I think the reason it went John Jones' way was because he was already the champion and he was undefeated. You know, I mean, like he's got that Matt Hamill loss on his record, but everybody fucking knows Matt Hamill was already dead. You know, when he started dropping those 12-6 elbows, and it was absolutely the referee's fault for not stopping that fight before that. So, John Jones is the GOAT. He's never lost at the UFC level. So I think that he's been in some close fights that could have went the other way. The Reyes fight, the Gustafsson fight, the Santos fight. But, you know, when you're undefeated and you're the champion, you got to beat the champion to be the champion. And sometimes beating him by that much isn't quite enough. But, yeah, I'm with you, man. I thought Santos did enough to, you know, that where he could have won that fight. And, you know, people wouldn't have had too much to say about it. So, and let's not forget, he's had both of those knees reconstructed. He's a big, strong man, but once you've had your knees reconstructed, you know, I mean, you're not the same athlete that you used to be. And, you know, he's a guy who relied on the athleticism and that brought that power that he brings. And, you know, the power is the last thing to go. But Jamal Hill, I mean, he's just really special on the feet, and he throws so much volume that I think it's going to be a very difficult matchup for Santos here. So we'll see. I don't know if he's going to be able to afford to be gun shy in this fight, because I think that he's going to get a fight brought to him. This is not Johnny Walker, who's going to stand in front of him and do nothing. This is not Magomed Ankalaev, who will just hypnotize you and do nothing. This is going to be a guy in Jamal Hill who turns up the pace as the fight goes on. He's got excellent conditioning, great kicks to the body, and big time power in those hands. So he can't afford to be gun shy here. He's got to try to land a big shot early, because if he doesn't, I think Jamal's going to drown him. Randy Fowler saying no. Dom Cruz only loses title fight, says Kiwi. Yeah, I mean, we'll find out, man. Dude, Dom Cruz against Vera is a very, very compelling stylistic matchup. I can't wait to hear the other cappers on YouTube break that one down, because that's like a master class on you as a capper being able to talk about what fighters do well, you know, and talk about minute winning, talk about durability, talk about who's moving forward and the styles of how you close distance against somebody who moves as well laterally and as well in and out as Cruz does with that kind of footwork. It's going to be a hell of a fight. Sloppy Second saying, in your opinion, why is Santos always in these main events? I think that what the UFC is kind of doing is using him as a stepping stone at this point in his career. They put you in front of the big guy, the guy with a big sledgehammer on his chest, and you could see all these the highlight reel of knockouts that he's had at the UFC level, and you could be like, oh wow, you know, I mean, if Hill beats this guy, he's going to be ready. But you know what happens sometimes is the UFC they put Ankalaev against Santos in that main event to be like, okay, we're here's your chance, Magomed. You know, you're going to go out there and you're going to destroy this guy. And he didn't. He did nothing. I mean, he basically sat there for 5 rounds. So that speaks more to what they're going to do with Magomed Ankalaev in main events going forward. Now what they're doing is they're putting Santos in 3 straight main events, and they're actually risking, you know, the fact that this guy puts together another dog shit performance, another completely unwatchable main event. Like as sure as I have to be as a capper coming on here talking these fights with all you guys, if you fucking think I'm going back and watching for a half an hour Walker versus Santos, if you think I'm going back and watching Ankalaev versus Santos, I don't want to puke. I don't want to watch that shit. That was garbage. That wasn't even a fight. That was 2 dudes standing in front of each other for 25 minutes. So I can't even watch those fights. They're unwatchable. So really what I guarantee you, when a match like this gets made, you know, they call up Santos and they're like, hey, we're giving you one more chance to impress us in a main event. But then they call up Jamal Hill and they go, look, if you don't knock the fuck out of this old man and punch mud holes into his fucking face and show us that you've got something here, you know, we're going to put you on the fucking back burner like we're putting Ankalaev there. And we're going to wait until you show us that you can have an exciting fight. Prove that you can put an exciting fight on against Thiago Santos, and we'll give you a title shot. And I think that's what they're doing. They're telling Jamal Hill, go out there and mop the fucking floor with this dude And if you do, then we'll let you fight. But if not, we're going to put you in there against Ankalaev on the bottom half of a pay-per-view main card, where it's like, we'll bring him in with this, but we're not expecting that it's going to be an exciting fight because Magomed Ankalaev is in it. So, I think they're trying to use him as a stepping stone, and I think it's fucking blowing up in their face because Santos is getting old, he's getting wise, and he's not going to lose brain cells for the company at this point. If he gets put in that cage with an opponent that lets him stand in front of him and do nothing for 25 minutes, that's exactly what he's going to do. He's got a wife and a baby at home. He doesn't need to get his fucking face smashed in by Jamal Hill. And if Jamal Hill lets Thiago stand in front of him and do nothing, he'll do that. But I don't think that's Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill ain't that dude. Dave saying metrics are the stats on roids. Love the content. Thanks. I appreciate that, man. And the metrics are very important. And Adam Rush saying the GOAT Weezy. Oi, what's up, Adam? Thanks for hanging out. Dave saying the price is always a factor. Yes, it is. The price is always, always, always a factor. That's how we determine value. Gogo Flamingo saying, also good to see you, Weezy. Just dropped in, drinking some Japanese whiskey and hanging out with the only uncle that ever did anything for me. Mom, man, I appreciate you. And you've been good to me and this channel, Gogo Flamingo. I truly appreciate you. Everybody else in here, I appreciate each and every one of you, man. Let's have a sip of a beverage here and toast to UFC Vegas 59 and us beating these bookies with a bag of oranges until we juice them. And then we're going to drink the juice in front of them. It's delicious. Okay. Bees saying, smash the like and pass the Paloma. My man, I appreciate you. David Nettles saying, what underdog do you see with the best chance of pulling off the upset this weekend? Okay, there's like 4 underdogs. I've already got bets on Miranda Granger at plus 202. She's plus 195 right now on Bet Online. I've got a 1-unit bet on Muhammad Usman. I got him at plus 200. The line is still running. The market likes Pauga. I get it. Pauga's good. He's very good. But there's just a lot of areas where Pauga, he's going to be the smaller guy. He's going to be the less powerful guy. He's going to be the less experienced guy. And he's going to be the guy that's not as good of a wrestler. I mean, Muhammad Usman has done some really nice wrestling on the regional scene. And Muhammad Usman has got more power because he's the natural heavyweight. But I could see Pauga kind of dancing around this guy, being the faster guy, being the more committed striker, being the more voluminous striker. I love that word, voluminous. Just bringing volume, out throwing Usman. But, Usman's got really good conditioning for a big guy. I think there's a lot of ways that Muhammad Usman could spoil the party here. I'm picking Pauga to win the fight, but I'm playing the line at plus 200. It's the same thing with McKenna. I'm actually picking Granger to win the fight because I'm just furious with Corey McKenna and her coaches still, and I'm being petty. So I'm picking Miranda Granger, but even if I was picking McKenna to win the fight at this line, I'm still betting Granger at plus 202 because the line is stupid. It makes no sense. I also think that Jeff Neal at plus 160 is very live against Vicente Luque. Luque's not a great minute winner, you guys. He's won 13 of his 14 UFC fights by finishing dudes. Jeff Neal is very, very durable. If Luque doesn't finish him, I think that it's going to be a coin flip, and you don't want to lay minus 185 after 3 rounds when you know it's in the judge's hands and it could go either way. So I do like Jeff Neal here. I think he can win minutes at plus 160. I think he's got a chance. I will be betting Brogan Walker by decision. I'm trying to get maybe plus 175 when those props drop. So I think she wins the fight. And I also think that Augusto Sakai at plus 222 is very interesting, but I think Sakai inside the distance or Sakai by knockout, if I could get plus 400 or better, I think that's very compelling because Spivak's the one that's got to get the fight to the ground. And if he doesn't do that, and if he's unable to get the job done, or if he just waits too long to do it, Sakai's got great power. He moves very well for a big man, and he's got a variety of weapons. He's got a great 1-2. He's got great low leg kicks and great body kicks, and he's got a lead uppercut that is nasty. And if he lands that, Spivak's going to sleep. And we've seen Spivak get knocked the fuck out a couple of times at the UFC level. So I think Sakai is live. Look, I think almost every fucking underdog on this card is live. Jamal Hill's got 46% striking defense. The power is the last to go. Santos could land a big shot. Cachoeira could land a big shot. Does Sam Alvey have one more ride in him? Probably not. If Terrence McKinney, if this guy Gonzalez, who's been in wars, absolute wars, if he survives the first 3 minutes, he could get a fucking win. So there's a lot, and I've got a bet on Granger. Myra Bueno Silva, if she keeps this fight standing in that striking range for a good long portions of the fight, I think she comes through as an underdog. So, but the bets that I have thus far are Muhammad Usman, Miranda Granger, both at a right around plus 200 for 1 unit. And I'm looking to add Jeff Neal, probably by decision, just because nobody's finishing Luque. If he finishes Luque, people's jaws are going to be on the floor. And I'm also looking at potentially a Sakai by knockout bet. But that's what I'm looking at, David. I appreciate the question. We got Rick Sanchez in the room saying Cruz lost to a washed-up Cody Garbrandt. Yes, he certainly did. And Cody looked fucking good in that fight. That's the best we've ever seen Cody Garbrandt look, was in that fight. But yes, he did. And Cody made him look foolish out there, Rick. You're right. Diesel saying, smash that like button, fools. What's up, Diesel? Let's go, Weezy. Happy I can make it live. It's good to see you in here, man. I appreciate you. Smash that like button. We got Usman Anjum saying, LOL. What's up, Usman? Good to see you in here. We got B saying, don't listen to the haters. Let's make money. Let's make money. Let's go. MMA, Prince of Mischief saying, non-MMA question. What's your favorite food to cook? Today I made pizza dough that's going to ferment for 2 days and will be ready to make on fight day. What's your specialty? Okay, so being of Greek descent, when I sit down and I get in that kitchen for an entire day, what I'll do is I'll make a leg of lamb. I use my Aunt Maria's recipe. I make what's called the Greek Easter lamb. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the entire leg of lamb. You make incisions in the lamb that are about, I'd say about 3/4 of an inch long, about a 1/2 inch deep. And what you want to do is you want to take a small spoon, you're going to fill those incisions with salt and pepper, and you're going to cap it with garlic. You want to do about 6 or 7 of those on each side of the leg of a lamb. And then we're going to make a marinade of lemon juice, olive oil, and water. And we're going to do salt, pepper, oregano, fresh garlic, thyme, rosemary in there. We put that in the oven at about 400 degrees for about an hour. We take it out, we flip it, and then when we've got that nice gravy of the olive oil, lemon, and water with the Greek spices in there, then we put potatoes in there around the lamb. And for the last 2 hours, the potatoes are in there cooking in the marinade and in the lamb drippings. Like I say, about 2.5 hours, 400 degrees. My Greek lamb and potatoes is absolutely out of this world. I also love doing the Greek flaming cheese, the saganaki. That's one of my specialties as well. The key to a good saganaki is using the Dodoni kefalotiri cheese. So it's the Greek cheese. It's called kefalotiri, Kefalotyri. You take a piece of that kefalotiri cheese, about a 1/4 inch thick. You put it in water, then you bread it in flour. You put it in the pan, cook it each side. And then what you want to do is you want to take a shot of brandy, a 1/2 shot of brandy. You pour it in the pan after you brown both sides of the cheese. You light it on fire. You say opalakia while that thing is flaming. And then you take a 1/2 lemon and you squeeze that 1/2 lemon on the flaming cheese. You serve it up. It's one of the best things you'll ever have in your life. I also make a killer carnitas. My carnitas, my lechon, out of this world. Do it with a black bean soup and a cilantro lime rice. Yeah, I love to cook, man. Those are some of my favorite dishes to make, though. Excellent question, Prince of Mischief. B saying, I'm going to look at this tomorrow. Let's make money. Let's go, B. We got Dave J. Barisa saying the metrics. Let's go. Josh Frick saying, I wasn't talking crap, Unc. I was saying I had a bad couple of weeks, buddy. Not blaming you. Oh, that's cool, man. I appreciate that, Josh. Yeah, and I was like, man, the Aspinall and the... and the Ortega bets are my fault. Yeah, dude. I've had a rough run lately, man. I mean, I'm up like 3 out of the last 4 events or something like that. But But prior to that, man, there were some rough ones, man. That Rakic card where he blew out his knee at the end, that one sucked. The Holly Holm card all came down to Holly Holm, lost that split decision. The London card was brutal with the fights that I thought were going to finish inside the distance that didn't finish inside the distance, and then missed the greasy four-leg parlay because Molly McCann got a finish instead of winning by decision. I hear you, Josh. Sicky does MMA saying people complain at you, but I don't see them doing breakdowns and all that. I mean, that's part of it. But yeah, Josh said I misread. Sometimes you write a comment in here and you just the way that it's written, you think that it's malicious, but it's really not. Bree saying, do you bet PFL, Bellator as well, or strictly UFC? It's strictly UFC for me, Bree, because with the content creation, it's like a 5-day-a-week job. I'm creating content 5 days a week, and then the 2 days that I'm not, I'm getting ahead for next week. So it's already a full-time job, just handicapping the 12 to 14 fights that the UFC puts out there every week for me. And I go deep, man. I watch a lot of tape, and I'm accumulating all these stats as they happen. So there's a lot of work with updating the databases and stuff beyond the scenes. So I can't even research Dana White's Contender Series. I just don't have the bandwidth. I have to stick to just the UFC. Charles saying, for PFL, what do you think about Pettis and Stevie Ray? I have no idea. I just don't, man. Ben Katie saying, words to live by, Uncle Weezy. Yeah, man. Sloppy Second saying, pass on Pettis and Ray, better spots on the card. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I could tell you. I don't even know who's fighting. We got Mushroom saying, what's up to Sloppy Seconds? We got Sloppy Seconds saying, what's up to Mushroom? We got Nick in the room saying, John Jones is an absolute fraud. His entire career and everything ever accomplished was fueled by cocaine and PEDs. He's a disgrace to his family, the sport, and every fan that ever cheered from him. I disagree with that. I think John Jones is a human being, has a lot to answer for, like we all do. I mean, we've all done things in our life. I mean, some of us haven't had cocaine-fueled parties and then, ran into a pregnant woman's car and then ran away. I personally have only done that 4 times. But a lot of people haven't done that kind of stuff. And it's easy for them to look at John Jones and say, yeah, that guy's a piece of shit or whatever. For me, it's what's happened in the cage. And I know that he's been busted for PEDs. I know there's stories about him hiding underneath the octagon when USADA came to drug test him and shit. So yeah, I see what you're saying there, but in the cage, John Jones was special. Nobody really fought like him. Very underrated wrestling, great conditioning, the variety of strikes that he threw, and then some of the wars that he was in, that he found a way to come out the other side with a win. I still think in the cage, John Jones was the greatest of all time. But outside of it, man, he's got a lot to answer for, Nick. There's no question about it. Brian taking notes. What's up, Brian? Sicky said, at Charles Herner, I really like Pettis. He was winning the fight comfortably until he made a dumb mistake. Austin G saying, Weezy called Santos a movie prop there for looks. Appreciate you, Austin. Thanks for hanging out, man. We got UFC Eggs saying, do I live bet? It's great for hedging or taking spots you're not comfortable with. Sometimes they make mistakes. Recently, I saw Murphy at plus 5,000 against Misha Tate, and it stood there for a solid 2 seconds. Wow. Yeah. So, I need a new computer. My computer is such a piece of garbage that the times I have attempted to live bet, it's been just a complete disaster. By the time I get, my bets in, the line is moved, and so I haven't been very successful with it. But I think, as a former trader, I used to work on the floor of the Chicago Stock Exchange. I think live betting is fantastic. I think it's a great option, and I think it's a great way if you go in. If you can make bets looking at a fight by saying, all right, I can take underdogs if I think that they're going to have a good first round, and all it takes is a good first round, and then I can hedge out of that bet for a guaranteed win. And when you look at live betting from the lens that I'm going to use it to hedge bets that I make before the fight starts. I think that if the fight plays out the way that you think it's going to, you can really set up some nice spots for yourself. But at the end of the day, it's always a fight, and fights are always unpredictable. As much as we'd like to think that they are predictable, they're very unpredictable. So that's why I prefer to look at the metrics and stuff and let the metrics help kind of like guide me to the value. And I look for those value spots. But yeah, I would like to be a little more conscientious about looking for live spots as well. Luke Fulton saying, fellas, what's up, Luke? Mushroom saying Luke A fight starts round 3. Granger money line, Myra Bueno Silva money line, Lipsky money line, Usman money line at plus 4,065. Any thoughts? Yeah, man. So I think you said that you put a greasy four-legger together yesterday with my tracked bets, and 2 of them are the Granger money line and the Usman money line. And I like the Myra Bueno Silva. In my opinion, that fight is flip a coin, and you're getting the plus money on Silva, so I like that bet. And then the Luke A fight starts round 3. I think is a good solid look as well. Rescue Wafer saying, do you show the fights or just talk about predictions? Oh, I can't show the fights on my channel. Yeah, so I just talk about predictions, and I bring up the data that I've accumulated and show it to you in templates, like this and like this. And then all of that, by the way, Rescue Wafer, you can download these stats for free in the description of the video. We've got the advanced stats, the career stats of every fighter on the card. Here's Stephanie Egger. We can take a look at her, Jessica Rose Clark fight, her Shanna Young fight, her Tracy Cortez fight. We can take a look at all the stats that she's compiled, all the stats that her opponents have compiled are over here. And then we've got all the metrics and stuff, FanDuel numbers, DraftKings numbers, the grappling offense and defense, the striking offense and defense. So, yeah, I can't show the fights on this channel, but I talk about them when we talk about betting these fights and looking at the numbers to try to find good bets. Luke Fulton saying, the live viewers and the amount of almost match, Weezy, that's respect. I appreciate you. How many of you guys are hanging out with me here right now? We got 53 live viewers on a Wednesday night, late night, almost midnight here in Chicago. I appreciate you guys for hanging out. And smash that like button while you're at it if you haven't done it already. But it sounds like most of you have, man. The PED machine Usman is voluminous. He's a big dude. And, dude, you watch him in the house. Go look at the 2 fights like before the Brandon Sales fight. He looked like a goddamn refrigerator. He was so big. So, yeah, I mean, I think Muhammad Usman's got a really good doctor, you guys. And I think that the supplements that he's getting over at GNC are absolutely spectacular. And he's been doing it for a minute, but now that he's in that pool, he's got to be a lot more careful about it, like all these guys do. So we'll see how that goes for him. And we got ZLU for Luke Fulton and Dave J. Barisa. Dang, Leg of Lamb. Wow, yeah, man. Leg of Lamb is dude, it's my Aunt Maria taught me how to make that lamb. I used to look forward to having that lamb. When she called me up, Michael, it's Greek Easter. Are you ready for the lamb? And it's like, yeah, Aunt Maria, I'm ready, But then one time she showed me how to make it. And from then on, I started making it, just when it wasn't Greek Easter, because I'm like, I want some lamb. So that lamb is so killer. Adam saying that lamb sounds tremendous, dude. It's so good. Boob saying the home loss was BS. She won every round. I don't know if she won every round, but it was a close fight. But the problem I had with the scoring of that fight was they were like, they were saying that the judges, judged it on damage. And I'm like, man, that's bullshit. Holly held her up against the cage for 9 minutes. And Vieira had 1 minute of control time. And don't act like in that in the 15 other minutes, like that Vieira was just piecing up Holm. Holm outlanded Vieira in those distance striking exchanges. So it doesn't make any sense how they say that Vieira won the fight on damage. She didn't do any damage. Holly Holm looked fine after that fight. So yeah, I don't know how you can lose 40% of a fight and then get it handed to you on the scorecards when that other 60% of the fight was at best 55% Vieira, 45% Holm at best. So yeah, But that's the sport that we're betting on. It's rough. Brian taking notes, and he's got the Mecca up there. And Gogo Flamingo saying Holmes lost F up 3 pars. Don't get me started, Gogo Flamingo. It screwed. Like it was something like I think I wound up down 2 units, but if Holm had won, I think I would have been up like something like 9 because she was the last leg of my greasy 4-legger that would have hit for something like 6 legs, and then I had her in a parlay and I had a straight bet. Oh God, it was so rough. And like from there, it all fell apart like a Chinese motorcycle after that card. And I had like my worst losing streak of the year. So yeah, that Holly Holm fight was a harbinger of bad things to come. Yeah, Yanan Wu is back, Weezy. UFC 278, the Wu-Tang Clan's newest member, Yanan Wu. Yeah, actually, she's not affiliated with them at all. And it's a shame. I'd probably bet her if she was. You know, if she had taken over for Old Dirty Bastard after his untimely death, and rest in peace, Old Dirty Bastard. We miss you, brother. Someday soon. But yeah, it's good to see when Yanan Wu back. Mulan maybe stacking up 5 straight losses. Is that what it's going to be? We'll see, man. Josh Frick saying, what do you think about the Roadhouse remake and Connor being in it? So first of all, my opinion on remakes of movies is that it's lazy. It's Hollywood being Hollywood. It's people just it's a complete lack of any kind of creative integrity. Just remaking movies that have already been made. Conor McGregor, I got to tell you, man. If I was like making a movie, if I was like a director and like the producers came to me and they were like, we got this great idea. We want to put Conor McGregor in the movie. I'd be like, well, who's going to babysit him? Because this guy is a fucking loose cannon. He doesn't even need the money, So he's going to come there. He's going to probably be on 5 grams of cocaine every day. He's going to be causing trouble. He's probably going to beat up the clerk for bringing him the wrong coffee in the morning. It's going to be a goddamn disaster. But, Roadhouse was a cool fucking movie. Rest in peace, Patrick Swayze. There's another great one. One of the great actors of my generation growing up. Big Patrick Swayze fan. Point Break was a classic. So, yeah, Roadhouse was cool, man. Patrick Swayze was cool. I'm sure the remake will be just devoid of any kind of creativity or originality. It'll probably be a boilerplate piece of Hollywood garbage, which is what they always do. But I would probably have to watch it simply because Conor McGregor was in it, man. I guess I would have to, man. CEO of EPO is laughing his ass off. What's up, man? Sicky Does MMA says over 1.5 in the Luque fight. Put a unit on. There you go, man. They're both durable guys. So look, if it does finish in that one in the first round and a half, it's just something that has never happened before at the UFC level to either of these guys in 6 losses, and they're both finishing. So I'd be surprised if either one of them got a finish. Let me just wait. Prince of Mischief saying, you should hear DC talk about John's fight IQ. He praised it. He said one time John rocked him, and instead of going for the kill, John kicked him and spun around, which made him dizzy and unable to wrestle. Wow. Yeah, I mean, dude, John Jones was, look, I mean, his record, 21-0 at the UFC level. How many of those fights were titled fights? 14 of them, maybe? 13 of them? I mean, like, come on. John Jones is the greatest. I mean, he may be an idiot. He may be a complete moron. He may never fight again, but that guy in the cage was something to watch. Michael Panza saying, I will always say Jones is the GOAT. His run at 205 was insane. He fought nothing but killers and legends for years who, let's be honest, were also on PEDs. Absolutely. There's no question about that. It's just, I think that John Jones was, he was the top of the heap, and he was doing them. He was doing PEDs. There's no question about it. Wow, Sicky saying 5:52 a.m. right now for him. My God, staying up late with his Uncle Weezy. I appreciate you. Dave Barista saying North Side or South Side. I'm a North Sider. I am in Avondale. Prior to being in Avondale, I lived over by Lawrence and the lake, right off of Lakeshore Drive in Uptown. Sloppy Second saying, favorite pizza in Chicago, thin or thick? I know Lou Malnati's makes a serious thin crust. Yeah, so I used to work at Lou Malnati's. Their thin crust is excellent. Their deep dish is excellent. Outside of Lou Malnati's, I've talked about a couple of pizza places. Mr. V's in Forest Park over there by the Metra, by Elston, and kind of like by Foster and Elston. He's got really good tavern-style thin crust pizza. And then also Barnaby's in Niles. My dad used to live right next in the townhouses, right next door to Barnaby's there. And they have got the best tavern-style pizza in the entire city, Chicagoland area, in my opinion. Those are my absolute favorites. But for deep dish, it's Lou Malnati's. I also like Gino's East, Uno's, Due's. They're all really good. I am a pizza fanatic. That's one of the reasons when I went back to school, I'm like, man, I should get a job delivering pizzas, and I should fucking deliver them over at Lou's because that way I can get free food. I think in the first 2 months that I worked at Lou Malnati's, I shit you not, I put on like 20 pounds. Like the pants that I had bought to work in didn't fit anymore after a month. I was eating so much pizza. I had to go on a crash diet and stop eating pizza. It was nuts. But their pizza is so good, I just couldn't resist it, man. Dave's saying Rosangela's or Vito and Nick's sloppy seconds. Yeah, Vito and Nick's I've heard good things about, but I have not tried that yet. And I have not tried Rosangela's either. But let me write those down. Rosangela's and then Vito and Nick's. I'm always down to try some new pizza. Nathan98 saying, hey, Weezy, I know this is unrelated to this card, but what are your thoughts of Chandler opening up as an underdog against Poirier? I got to look into that, my man. I'll have to look into the stats on that one. Chandler, Poirier, we don't have a bunch of UFC stats on Chandler yet, but God, I would have to watch tape. I would have to watch tape before I came up with any kind of an idea on that one. But that's going to be a very, very, very exciting fight. I can't wait for that one. And then if you're looking for the best adult dating site, you guys, you got to check these guys out. These women on this site, they absolutely put out. I don't know how they filter out the teases, but this is going to be where you're going to get laid, my friends. So you got to check these guys out. These are my guys. Sorry. Oh, God. They're always in here, too. It's crazy. And Sloppy Second saying that Dave J. Barisa, I am not knowing. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to have to check it out. Gogo Flamingo saying, back to the leg of lamb for a second. We talking the leg of lamb with the bone? Yes. And can you explain the sauce again? Okay, so actually, what I do is I've got one of these vacuum sealers, right? So what I'll do with that leg of lamb is, I do the incisions. You put salt and pepper in the incision, and then you're capping it with garlic to keep the salt and pepper in there. And then what I'll do is it'll be, you want to have enough of a marinade for it to act baste in there. But 1 part olive oil, 1 part fresh lemon juice that you're grinding those lemons, and then 1 part water. And then what you can do is you can take it, put it in a bag, put the leg of lamb in there, marinate it, and then vacuum seal the bag. You leave it in the fridge overnight, and then when you take it out, you're going to put it in a metal roasting pan in the sauce. So that gravy is just fresh lemon juice, Kalamata olive oil, if you can find the Kalamata, and then water, 1 part of each. That's the easiest way to do it. And then some rosemary, some oregano, some salt, some pepper, some fresh garlic. That's all it takes, man. 2.5 to 3 hours, 450 degrees. Dave saying LOL. Boob saying that movie thing just makes me think Conor is done with fighting. Yeah, I mean, why he should be done with fighting. He doesn't need to get into a cage anymore. And I mean, he should just take the super fights, whatever fights he thinks are worth the money for him to show up and fight. He should do that. But other than that, man, that dude has made so much money. He doesn't need to fight. I would prefer Conor in a remake of Big. That'd be wild. Keith Offenlock says Alvey gets KO'd. Thoughts? Oleg Sachek's got a ton of power, and he's moving down to 185 now for the first time at the UFC level. So we'll see how that weight cut goes for him. But I'm hearing that it's going pretty well, only 5 kilos off as of right now. Thanks to my guy Dave, that I know that. And yeah, I think that there's a potential that he gets KO'd, but I know Oleg Sachek's taking this dude very seriously, and he's taking Alvy's durability very seriously. So I think he's going to win this fight, but I don't think it's a given that he's going to knock out Alvey, because Alvey has historically been very durable. He's historically been a counter puncher that kind of slows down the volume that his opponents throw with. Now, I don't know if Oleg Sachek's going to be afraid of him, because the way that dude walks forward and throws combinations, especially to the body, I think he's very dangerous. And I think if he works that body, that would be the way to get rid of Alvey. A very durable guys are it's easier to knock him out to the body or to the legs. Jorge Rivera saying, Weezy, I got no wife, no kids, no friends, no one. If I died tonight, no one would care. It would take 2 hours for my landlord to pack up my stuff and move on. I don't know what to tell you, Jorge, man. Got to go out there and find people for you. You know? Go out there and get those people that you need in your life. We all need people in our life that care about us. But if they're not there for us, we got to go and find them ourselves. And it's worth that search, buddy. Don't do anything stupid. Be here for us. We'll be here for you. And go out there and find those people that you can surround yourself with. And if you offer them something in terms of being a good friend, a good person, they'll offer you something back in return, brother. Be well. Sloppy Second says he cares, Jorge. We all do, man. Sloppy, loses inconsistent. As far as chains, Giordano's is the most consistent. Stuff from there or thin tavern style from a bevy of other places. Nice call, Ben. Yeah, man, be strong is right. Keith, you're right. Keith saying, better to see you next stream at Jorge Rivera. Yep, let's see it. Sloppy Seconds at Ben Katie. When I was in Chicago, Pequod's was my spot. Pequod's is good, dude. Pequod's is very good. Sports Fanatic Gibbs saying, who's the ass shaver this week? My bad, I'm late. I put it down as Jamal Hill. I got Jamal Hill shaving ass this week. I didn't want to give you Oleg Sachek. I didn't want to give you Terrence McKinney because the lines are crazy wide. I think Josh Quinlan's got a great chance to land a big shot, but he's just really inexperienced. He's a doper. He was using steroids his last fight out, so I just don't know what to think of him yet. So I feel like the safest pick for a guy to go out there and end the fight violently is Jamal Hill, because that's what that dude does. Prince of Mischief saying, Iron Chef Weezy. Cuban Assassin saying, what to do, Weezy? Who's the GOAT Octagon girl? Ariane Celeste or Brittany Palmer? Megan O'Leary could smoke them in hot UFC chick poll. Yeah, man. They're all fantastic young ladies, beautiful. Who's the one that I like? Oh, what's her name? Man, I think they're all spectacular, to be honest with you, man. If we start picking Octagon girls, we might be here all day and get off of what we really need to talk about. But yeah, man. Oh, man. Who was that one? Can't remember. Ben Katie saying, went to Pequod's once and got tired of waiting, missed out. Yeah, that place is jam-packed all the time. Dr. Smith X, how about Tracy Cortez? That's a girl worth simping for, Cuban. Man, Tracy Cortez is spectacular. And I am a fan of minute-winning wrestlers, you know. So Tracy Cortez absolutely fits that. She's so good at wrestling, at winning minutes, at winning fights off of that wrestling. Did a great job against Melissa Gatto. And she is a spectacular-looking young lady. Brian Ortega, very lucky young man. The Cuban Assassin saying he concurs, and so do I. Ben Katie saying, damn, Weezy, I used to live by Irving and Elston. No kidding. And I live next to Barnaby's, too. What are the odds? Oh, my God, that's wild, man. Yeah, because my dad used to live right on Wood River, which is a little horseshoe-shaped street that hits Caldwell there. And it's right on Caldwell and Oakton, which is right where the Barnaby's is. So that's wild, man. Yeah, Irving and Elston, that's right over by me now, because I'm over at like Belmont and Elston over here by the Trace Posada in Avondale. We got Prince of Mischief saying, imagine someone came here looking for UFC stats and started hearing the leg of lamb story. That's so true, man. You never know what's going to happen on Ask Weezy. The Cuban Assassin, but then you got to deal with Ortega and half of San Pedro. Yes, that's right. So, I mean, like, you know, Tracy Cortez is off limits. You don't want Brian Ortega and his crew coming after you for looking at his woman. Sloppy Second saying, Jorge Rivera, channel your inner Billy Goff. Yeah, you got that right, man, dude. Life can get us down sometimes, but you know, you say that nobody loves you, man. Make somebody love you. Get out there. I'm sure you've got a lot to offer people, and when you have something to offer people, they will show you something in return. So get it, Jorge. We want the best for you, brother. Mushroom saying Philly cheesesteaks, Jim's Steaks. Yeah, Jim's Steaks. So we don't really do the Philly cheesesteaks here in Chicago that much. I mean, I've never been to Philly, so I'm gonna have to get out there one of these days, and you Philly cats are gonna have to show me around, man. Dave saying, hang in there, Jorge. Yes. Sloppy Second saying, why you gotta mention Philly cheesesteaks much at this time of day, man? Yeah, man. I agree with you, Nick. We all care here, man, for sure. Stay strong. Go. I'm with Nick. Yes. Ultimate Fight Pick, stay strong, Jorge. Yes, man, let's stay strong. David Nettles saying, keep your head up, Jorge. You're my prayers, my friend. Boob saying Laura Sanko hot. Yeah, she's a beautiful woman. Sloppy simping for Brooklyn Red here. Yeah, Brooklyn Red. Yeah, she's beautiful too, man, for sure. Kiwi saying Cortez got a goddamn foot face. Not my cup of tea. Man, I disagree with you there, Kiwi. But yeah, it's like, you know what? To each their own, man. You know, we don't get to tell each other what they get to find attractive, man. Yeah, man, go get your thing. We'll get ours. We'll all be happy at the end of the day, man. Go Flamingo saying, Jorge, get back into the gym, man. From someone who has depression, it helps. Take a second or first job, even if it's minimum wage. Get in shape, earn money, one mission at a time, one day at a time. But that is excellent advice, Go Flamingo. That's one thing I've been working really hard lately, and I've been thinking that, you know, because I after COVID, they kind of shut down all the gyms here in Chicago. They made you wear a mask while working out. My brother was a hot yoga instructor, and they were literally making people wear masks while doing hot yoga in a 104-degree room, drenched with sweat. Just disgusting. So I stopped working out, and the hardest thing to do once you've stopped is to start again. And it's something that I've got to do. I've got to get back in the gym so I have more energy to do all the content that I do and all the work that I do. Because when you getting in that gym every day, I'll tell you, it's the most selfish thing in the world. And it's a beautiful selfishness, because when you're in there working out, it doesn't benefit anybody else in the world but you. That's your time. You're making yourself better. And I think in order to put yourself first, you have to be selfish sometime, but in a good way. Work on yourself, make yourself better, give other people a reason to flock to you and come to you and want to be in your light. So that's great advice, Go Flamingo. David saying, Weezy, at what odds does a fight or fighter become unbettable in your opinion? I'd say around -500, -600 is when, you know, it's just that a -500 implied probability is 83.3%, if I'm not mistaken. So even if you're hitting 10 out of 10 bets, you know, you're still only up 17%. So I think once you get, like, if I'm going to bet something straight and it's up at like -250, -260, I've been walking away from those bets more often than not. And usually what I'm asking myself is, look, if you're willing to put 2.6 units on it, are you willing to put 5 on it? And if the answer isn't immediately yes, if you're not going to put 5-unit max bet on it, then you're not confident enough to make the bet. Because in order to be confident enough in it, you got to be thinking, all right, maybe 9 out of 10 times this hits. But if you're betting -250, you know, you're betting something that's going to be around 72%. So you got to be right 85% of the time to like put out a 13% return on investment, which is kind of what you're looking for over a long term. If you can get that, it's a great number, but it's something you keep in your mind. So straight betting something, if I'm laying up to like -250, I almost kind of like put myself into that max bet test and I say, would you max bet this? And if the answer is no, then I'm not betting it at all. Or I'll try to find something else at minus 250 to parlay it with and then just bet it small. But that's kind of the way I look. And once something's like minus 400, minus 500, I'm not even really looking to parlay it. Mushroom, yeah, about 10 cheesesteak places open 24/7 in Philly, I'm sure, man. Nathan98 saying that there seems to be a lot of debate with Herb Dean not being as golden standard as he used to be. Which ref would you consider to be the best? I would lean Herzog at the moment. I would say Herzog. I've been really happy with the work that Kevin McDonald has done when he's been in there. I don't like Beltran. I think he takes too long to stop fights, and I think that he will stand fights up too soon. I don't like Dan Movaheady because I don't think I think he stands fights up too soon. Dean is not great. Keith Peterson will let dudes get murdered in there before he stops fights sometimes. So, but other than that, and Keith Peterson seems a little bit hesitant to take points when people are cheating. I've found that as well. I think Jason Herzog does a good job, but Herzog pisses me off and sometimes will punish wrestlers who, work to a position and they're landing ground and pound and half guard and they'll stand them up too. So yeah, but I think Herzog is probably the best. I like Kevin McDonald. Yeah, those are the ones I'm liking right now. Fist shaking from Sloppy Seconds. He doesn't want to go out late night. And then, my guys again here, this is where you go to get laid right here, you guys. Fantastic stuff. Friend of the show. And let's see here. I used to go to the gym 6 days a week for 16 years straight. Then COVID happened and I just quit. I haven't gone back yet. Yeah, I have to get back there too, man. I was in incredible shape back in 2019 and it all fell apart, dude, after COVID, man. Bo Nickel minus Tree Fitty. I don't think he's even anywhere close to minus Tree Fitty. I think he's like minus 1,400. Nickel minus 1,400 right now on Bet Online. So the value is on Zachary Borrego. And you know what Borrego is Spanish for, you guys? Lamb. So maybe Bo Nickel winds up getting his ass shaved out there by the plus 700 favorite, although it is probably not likely. Herzog definitely the best in my opinion. Keith Peterson the best at getting dudes hurt, but I still like Keith. I want to drink with him. I want to hang out with Keith Peterson, man. Herzog is the best, man. This guy rarely makes mistakes. David Nettle saying, Weezy, do you have any times where you take into account who the referee is in a fight or who the judges are? No, I don't, because I just think that when you start thinking that way, you're taking factors that you can't control and you're putting them into the equation. You need to worry about the data. You need to worry about what you've seen on tape from the two fighters. The judges are going to do what the judges do. The one thing I do sometimes do is, like, let's say I got a fight doesn't go to decision bet. And then the fight's about to start, and I see your referee, Keith Peterson, and I'll just yell, fuck! Because I know that, if the fight comes close to ending, that, whoever, is trying to end the fight is going to have to work harder than usual in order to get Keith to step in. So, yeah, it's not something I take too much into. Yeah, it went to minus 1,400 in like 10 minutes. Crazy. I'm completely sure. Thoughts on the MMA Guru? I like the MMA Guru. I think the guy busts his ass. I think he does a ton of work. And when I think what Guru does really well is kind of talk about the narratives behind the scene, what's happening with the organization, who the organization is pushing, what fights need to happen in order for it to have the most entertaining cards going forward. And I think that Guru does a good job shining a light on whether the UFC is doing their best to make good fights, fan-friendly fights, and whether they're being fair to the fighters too. I remember when the Covington Masvidal thing happened, I watched his commentary on that, and I thought he just absolutely nailed it. I wish I had more time to watch other content creators because I don't. working, being a content creator in your own right is a lot of work. But yeah, I think he does really good work, man. And I think I love listening to him talk about narratives. And let's see here. Refreshing the page. Won't even let me block the dating site. Let's see. Peterson will drink with you all right, even before the fights he reps. Meatball is saying I'll randomly bet a split if I see Salas on this judging panel. Yeah, sometimes it's not a bad idea to do that. We don't get this. We don't get the info, do we? Yeah, I don't think we do actually. In terms of you might know which judges are going to be there that night, but I don't know if you know what judges are going to judge what fights or what refs are going to be in there for which fights until like probably after your bets are in. But I'm not quite sure. Nick saying I'm 54 years old, work my ass off building houses every day in the hot South Mississippi sun. To hell with the gym. Yeah, you don't need to go to the gym. If you're building houses out there in the sun, you're getting your workout every damn day. And I'm sure that you could probably bench press a truck after doing that kind of work, Nick. That is for sure, man. My dad owned a restaurant, and he was behind that grill from 9 a.m. until 7 p.m. every goddamn day. And there was a stretch of time where my dad was so difficult to work with in the kitchen. Like, he wanted to run the kitchen his way. So he had trouble finding somebody that he enjoyed working with, or even he would refuse to work with most people. So our restaurant seated 72 people, and my dad was cooking for every single one of those people. He was cooking for 72 people sometimes at once. Amazing stuff. And I don't know how the hell he did it all those years. Every damn day he was there, every morning till the place closed. Shout out to everybody out there that goes out there and busts their ass to provide for their family and provide for themselves, because it ain't easy, man. Dave saying the one factor that we control is the price we are willing to accept. Yeah, that's very good point, man. Nick saying he's so used to be awesome now. He spends too much time pissing and moaning and whining and crying that the cards aren't good enough. Yeah, I don't get to watch him too much, but the times that I've seen him kind of comment on some of the situations that are going on, he's very knowledgeable, and I think he's entertaining. But like I say, I don't get enough time to watch enough other content creators. Luke saying Weezy always with the respect. Yeah, man, we gotta respect each other. And Meatball saying I think they only say the ref and judges for the co-main and main. Yeah, I think he might be right about that. Luke Fulton saying, I should have elaborated, but yeah, the judges. I don't think we can know for sure is it better. Yeah, that's for sure. And 72, what? Wow. Oh, wow. Do we have 72 people in here? 47 people in here. You guys, it's an hour and 47 minutes. I appreciate all you guys hanging out here on Ask Weezy. I had a great time answering your questions. Always good talking with the community, talking with you guys. Jorge Rivera, be well, brother. Be well. And all you guys, be well. I'm done with my content for the week, but I am going to be dropping a short video on this channel tomorrow with the Greasy 4-leg parlay. Once these props drop, what are these guys waiting for? Dude, even here on Best Fight Odds, you guys, Myra Bueno Silva, Stephanie Egger still only has over or under 2.5 on two different books and no other props anywhere else in the world. So I don't know what's going on, man. Oh, the restaurant number. Oh, yeah, 72 people, man. That's how many seated at the Colonial Coffee Shop in Park Ridge, Illinois. No longer there, closed years ago, but yeah, that's where I grew up, and that's my dad busted his ass working behind that grill, providing for his family, and he was an amazing cook too. Great stuff, man. Great stuff. But Sicky does MMA, saying his cards this year have been terrible. Watching MMA since 2018 when John fought Gus second, and I've never been so bored of MMA. Yeah, I mean, but the summer has been pretty good cards. This card, the next card are a little bit thin, but the 5 or 6 before that were pretty good, man. F55 likes, let's go, man. Dave with the flexing, yeah, let's go, man. David, while I know that reach is a factor in fights, do you see any times where height difference is a factor? I think it can make a difference on the ground and the grappling. Guys with long reaches and long heights sometimes can be enough to stop a good wrestler, because tall guys are very difficult to take down. And then guys with long legs, long arms can get chokes from areas that other guys just simply can't. So it does matter sometimes. And I think that Miranda Granger being much taller than Corey McKenna could be a factor on Saturday. Cheers, mate. Great work, says Kiwi. Kiwi, thank you so much for donating to the channel. I appreciate you, brother. Good night, brother. Always appreciate you, Luke. Appreciate you, CEO of EPO. Appreciate you, Sloppy Seconds. Appreciate you, Nathan. Appreciate you, Luke. Appreciate you, Go. Romance that like button before you leave, peeps. It's Corey McKenna Fight Week, you guys. Let's have some fun. Let's cash a whole bunch of tickets. God bless each and every one of you guys. And I will be back tomorrow with the Greasy 4-Leg Parlay here on this channel. And then the only thing left to do after we place that 4-leg parlay is to stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC Vegas 59. Good night, everybody. Have a great night, and we will see you tomorrow.